Got a little bit
290, 300,
No
309.1.
You.
Well done.
Imagine a young gold miner named Parker Schnabel stumbling upon something so wild it sent shockwaves through the mining community. Picture this: an old beat-up machine lost in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by tangled bushes and trees. It's been sitting there, rusting away for years, forgotten by everyone. Except it's hiding a secret worth a jaw-dropping $400 million in gold. How could something this incredible just sit there unnoticed for so long? Let's dig into this amazing story and find out what Parker's got planned for this crazy discovery, and why it's got other miners so worked up they'd do anything to stop him. So first, subscribe to the channel. This isn't just any machine. It's a Trommel, a massive, gritty beast covered in dirt and grime. It's huge, like a giant steel tube built to chew through mountains of earth and spit out gold. Back in its heyday, this thing was a workhorse, processing tons of rock and dirt every day to grab nuggets and tiny specks of gold. But it wasn't perfect. The old-school methods it used let a lot of the smaller, finer gold slip right through its fingers. And after decades of being left to rot, all that missed gold just piled up, waiting for someone to find it. Parker's the guy who did. When he first peeked inside this rusted giant, Parker didn't just find gold. He found a hint at something even bigger. This wasn't just a lucky break. It could change everything we thought we knew about this abandoned mining spot. For years, locals had whispered stories about the place. Some said the Trommel was part of a big operation that shut down when the money dried up or something went wrong. Others swore the piles of dirt nearby were still loaded with gold, but no one had the guts to check until Parker came along. Brushing off the dust, he spotted something glinting in the muck. That shiny flicker stopped him cold. It wasn't just a paycheck. It was proof that this forgotten site might still be a gold mine. Literally. Now, Parker's got a plan, and it's kicking up a storm. This discovery's so big, it's got other miners shaking in their boots, ready to do whatever it takes to keep him from cashing in. What's next? Stick around. This story's just getting started. Parker Schnabel had struck something huge, not just a random find, but the kind of discovery that could spark a full-on gold rush. Sitting there in front of him was that rusty old Trommel, a sleeping giant with millions in gold just waiting to be unleashed. Bringing it back to life, though? That was no walk in the park. Parker and his crew had a monster of a job ahead, reviving this beat-up beast and turning it into a gold-churning machine once again. First up, they had to figure out how to even move the thing. It was massive, like trying to haul a small house out of the wilderness. Once they got it to a spot where they could work, the real fun began, fixing it up. They dove in, swapping out busted gears, patching up screens, and hammering the giant steel drum back into shape. Every rusty bolt and creaky part tested their skills and patience. But they weren't backing down. They knew the payoff could be mind-blowing. And while they worked, they stumbled on something else. A huge pile of untouched dirt right next to the Trommel. They scooped up some of that dirt and tested it. The results? Pure insanity. The gold in there was way richer than anything Parker had ever dug up before. This wasn't just a lucky pile of mud. It was a total game changer. Parker didn't mess around. He set up a temporary processing setup, blending old-school tricks with the latest tech to make sure they nabbed every speck of gold. Pressure was on, big time. But they were ready to roll the dice and see what they could pull off. And boy, did it pay off. Day after day, the gold piled up, adding up to millions faster than anyone dreamed. But the story didn't stop there. As they dug into the Trommel's history, Parker's team found old records hinting at something wilder. This machine wasn't a lone wolf. It was part of a whole network of mining sites, all abandoned and possibly loaded with more gold. Those dusty logs were like a treasure map, pointing to spots with crazy high gold levels just waiting to be explored. Parker's find wasn't just about this one jackpot. It was the key to a bigger adventure, a chance to chase down even more hidden riches. Fixing up the Trommel wasn't just about getting it running. It was like opening a history book. Every dented panel and worn-out gear told a tale of its glory days when it was a powerhouse tearing through mountains of dirt. This wasn't just a machine, it was a time machine, and Parker was ready to ride it straight into a gold-filled future. Parker Schnabel and his crew didn't just stumble onto gold, they brought a rusty legend back from the dead. To get it right, they called in the pros, knowing one tiny slip-up could tank the whole gig. When that Trommel finally growled to life again, it was like a time machine meets a modern marvel. Old-school grit fused with slick new tech. Seeing it churn through dirt was unreal, spitting out gold nuggets and tiny sparkles like it was showing off. For Parker's team, this wasn't just about cashing in. Digging into the Trommel's past, they found stories of the miners who ran it way back when. Tough folks chasing big dreams in a brutal world. Those tales gave the project heart, turning it into more than a gold hunt. It was a high five to the past, a nod to the guts and grind of the people who came before. And word spread fast. Miners everywhere started buzzing about it. People couldn't stop talking. Experts and dreamers alike wondered what other forgotten treasures might be out there, rusting away in some overgrown corner of the world. Parker's Trommel wasn't just a machine anymore. It became a symbol of what happens when you mix stubborn determination with a little luck. It showed that the best stuff might be hiding where no one bothers to look. By the time they were done, the haul was insane. Hundreds of millions in gold, pulled from a relic everyone else had written off. That Trommel, once a forgotten pile of junk, turned into the star of Parker's biggest win yet. It kicked off a frenzy, with folks itching to poke around other abandoned sites, dreaming of their own jackpot. But for Parker's crew, the real challenge was just starting, keeping the magic alive and digging even deeper. This wasn't just about gold. It was about uncovering what's been left behind, in the ground and in history. In the cutthroat world of mining, most people only see what's in front of them. They miss the real gold buried under rust and time. Parker's story proves that with some elbow grease, a sharp mind, and a lot of heart, an old beast of a machine, like this Trommel, built to rip gold from dirt back in its prime, can roar back to life. It's not just a payday, it's a wake-up call. The best treasures are often the ones everyone else forgot to find. Picture this, a massive, clunky machine that was once the king of the gold fields, a true wonder of its time. But as the years rolled on and fancy new tech took over, these giants got left behind, rusting away in forgotten corners of old mining lands. Most people saw them as junk, relics of a bygone era. But not our guy. He's got a fire in his belly and a knack for spotting a diamond in the rough. To him, this wasn't just some old hunk of metal. It was a sleeping beast, ready to roar back to life. Our story kicks off in a wild, remote spot that used to buzz with gold rush fever. Back in the day, dreamers flocked here, chasing fortunes. Now, it's a ghost town of sorts, full of crumbling ruins, until he showed up. Wandering through the mess of weeds and dirt, he spotted it. A Trommel, buried under grime and time. Most folks would have walked right past, calling it trash. Not him. He knew these old machines often left gold behind in the dirt they churned through. Hidden riches, just waiting for someone bold enough to grab them. This wasn't a small-time gig. It was a big, gutsy bet with a payout that could blow your mind. Getting that beast out of the wilderness? That was a whole adventure. We're talking a multi-ton monster that needed cranes, trucks, and a crack team of pros to haul it out. Every bumpy mile was a roll of the dice. One wrong move, and it could have all gone south. But they pulled it off, and when that Trommel rolled into the workshop, the real magic started. They scraped off years of rust, tossed out the old creaky parts, and swapped in slick, modern upgrades. What used to be a slow, clunky relic turned into a lean, mean gold-hunting machine. This wasn't just a fix-up job, it was a total makeover. Out went the ancient gears, in came high-tech replacements. They slapped a shiny new motor on that giant drum and wired it up with sensors and smart systems. Now, this thing could think for itself, tracking gold, spotting clogs, and keeping everything humming like a dream. It wasn't just a machine anymore. It was a tech-packed powerhouse churning out profits with laser precision. To top it off, they built a digital version, a 3D twin they could poke and tweak on a screen. That way, they could test ideas and fix problems without touching the real deal. This Trommel went from a forgotten fossil to a gold-grabbing superstar, proving that with some vision and grit, even the dustiest old relic can shine again. This wasn't just a win, it was a total game-changer. The team didn't mess around, bringing in drones to swoop over the land like high-tech treasure hunters. With sharp pictures and spot-on data, they mapped out the juiciest gold-packed dirt piles to tackle. Every step was smart, sharp, and laser-focused on squeezing out every ounce of value. When the big day came to flip the switch on that Trommel, the tension was sky-high. The giant drum kicked into gear, rumbling and spinning. Dirt went in, junk flew out, and gold, oh man, the gold, started pouring through. The haul was unreal, raking in millions, way more than anyone dared to dream. That risky bet? It paid off huge, proving this old machine wasn't just some rusty leftover, it was a gold mine hiding in plain sight. But the cash wasn't even the whole story. This project lit a fire under the mining world. It screamed loud and clear. Old, forgotten gear could still be worth a fortune. People started buzzing, digging through dusty records, hunting for other sleeping giants. It was like a mini uprising, shaking up the industry to think outside the box and see the gold in what's been left behind. And it wasn't all sentimental vibes either. The team mined smarter, using cutting-edge tech to keep the land happy, while pulling out every speck of gold they could. Locals loved it. Miners tipped their hats. This crew showed you could make bank and still do right by the earth. That Trommel turned into more than a machine. It became a shining beacon of what's possible. It breathed life back into the ground and sparked a wave of fresh ideas. This wasn't just about striking it rich, it was about digging up history and showing that the guts and smarts of the old-timers still had juice today. Their big win proved that, with some gutsy thinking and hard work, even a beat-up relic could turn into a gold-spitting powerhouse. This story's going to echo for years, pushing future miners to keep hunting, keep digging, and never stop chasing the next big find. That Trommel, once abandoned and ignored, now stands tall, a badass symbol of grit and imagination. It's proof that in a world obsessed with the shiny and new, sometimes the real treasure's been sitting there all along, waiting for someone bold enough to see it. This wasn't just about gold. It was about showing that with the right spark, anything's possible. When that trommel roared back to life, it wasn't just spitting out gold. It was showing the world that old stuff can still shine with a little fresh thinking. This wasn't just a machine. It was a piece of history that got a second shot at greatness. The TRL, once a rusty old nobody, turned into a rock star. Proof that the past and future can team up for something amazing. By mixing classic mining tricks with slick new tech, it showed that digging for gold doesn't have to trash everything in sight. This project didn't just pull treasure from the ground. It dug up a whole new way to think about mining. Those abandoned machines dotting the landscape, people used to call them junk, but now they're looking like hidden gold mines waiting to be cracked open. Pair them with some clever upgrades, and boom, the industry's getting a makeover. The TRL's big comeback wasn't just about the shiny stuff. It was a loud, take that, to the idea that mining has to mean waste and ruin. This beast ran cleaner and leaner than the old school ways, cutting down on mess while still raking in the goods. It's like it set a new rule. You can strike it rich and keep the planet in one piece. Other miners are sitting up and taking notice, wondering what their own dusty gear might do with a little love. Turns out, those clunky old machines aren't just scrap. They can go toe-to-toe with the newest tech when you sprinkle in some AI and automation. This isn't about living in the past. It's about spotting the gold in what's been ignored and making it work smarter. Parker's crew proved that with a dash of old wisdom and a heap of today's know-how, you can pull off something epic. The takeaway? Never count out a good idea or a second chance. The TRL story is more than gears and gadgets. It's about guts, heart, and seeing what others miss. Fixing it up uncovered surprises nobody saw coming. High-tech mapping gear spotted gold stashes the old-timers never even dreamed of. Not just crumbs, but clues to whole new zones that could keep the party going for years. Bringing the TRL back wasn't a cakewalk, though. Engineers, rock experts, and wrench turners teamed up, piecing it together like a giant puzzle. Some parts were so trashed they had to build new ones from scratch to fit today's systems. Every snag just made them dig in harder. This wasn't just about a machine. It was about unlocking a future nobody expected. This wasn't just about fixing up an old machine. It was about dreaming up what it could become. The local folks chipped in big time, spilling tales and digging up old records that handed Parker's team golden clues about the Trommel's past and how it used to roll. When that TRL growled back to life, it wasn't just gears turning, it was a heart-pumping win. A machine everyone had given up on was now running smoother and faster than it ever did back in the day. Seeing it chew through dirt and spit out gold wasn't just about the cash, it was living proof that grit and fresh ideas can work wonders. The TRL's glow-up is a loud reminder that even stuff left to rot can still have a ton of juice. And its story didn't stop with Parker's crew. It lit a spark across the whole mining world, yelling, "Hey, take another look at that old junk and those abandoned spots." Parker showed everyone that mining's future doesn't have to trash its past. His team turned a rusty nobody into a gold-churning champ, proving that with some clever thinking and elbow grease, forgotten gear can still shine. This wasn't just a score for them. It opened doors for everybody, shaking up how gold mining plays the game. It's not all about the money either. It's about rewriting the playbook, blending old-school know-how with bold, new moves. Parker's crew set up a way of exploring that's smart and green, even teaming up with brainy folks from universities to cook up slick tools. They've got new tech tricks to figure out if old parts are worth fixing or swapping, squeezing every drop of value from stuff others called useless. Word's spreading fast. Teams in Australia, South America, and Africa are now poking around their own ghost town sites, chasing their own TRL-style wins. It's like the mining golden age never ended. It just got a reboot. This isn't just breathing life back into played-out land. It's pumping jobs and cash into towns that needed a boost. Green groups are watching close too, and they're liking what they see. Mining's taken heat forever for wrecking nature, but Parker's TRL gig is flipping the script. His team's cutting waste and working smarter, proving you can rake in profits without leaving a mess. These aren't baby steps. They're big, bold leaps showing the industry a better way to roll. The TRL's journey from scrap heap to star player is a wild ride that's got everyone rethinking what's possible. It's not just about hitting pay dirt. It's about showing that with the right mix of heart and hustle, the old can strike gold all over again. Parker Schnabel and his crew didn't just strike gold. They kicked off something way bigger than a single win. This isn't just a local high five, it's a ripple that's hitting mining towns everywhere. Picture this: sleepy little places buzzing again, shops popping open, restaurants filling up, and small businesses getting a fresh start. Families who thought the good days were gone, they're seeing new chances to thrive. This Trommel project isn't just about the shiny stuff they dug up. It's changing lives, boosting towns, and flipping the script on what mining can mean. It's a loud and clear message. Moving forward doesn't always mean scrapping everything old. Sometimes it's about taking a second look at what's already there and figuring out how to make it awesome again. That TRL, it's not just some rusty machine anymore. It's a shining example of what happens when you mix grit, smarts, and a big dream. Parker's showing us that even the dustiest tools can still have a ton of worth if you're bold enough to rethink them. This isn't about torching the past. It's about building on it to make something even better. Mining can be green, help people, and still make money, and the TRL proves it. But it's bigger than that. It's a wake-up call for all of us. What else are we sleeping on just because it looks old? Parker's story dares us to dig deeper, not just into dirt, but into our own ideas about what's possible. He's not ditching the old ways, he's giving them a new spark. And that's a trick we can all learn from, way beyond the mines. So, what do you think? Was Parker's big find just a lucky break? Or is it the key to a giant, forgotten treasure chest nobody else bothered to notice? Could this abandoned trommel be part of something even wilder, waiting out there to be uncovered? Drop your thoughts below. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this.